So collectively, me and my wife are $460,000 in debt.
I have 35 credit cards.
Currently owe the IRS $600,000.
Good Lord, how did that happen?
Okay, so today we're going to be taking a look at some unbelievable financial situations people have gotten themselves into calling into the Dave Ramsey Show. I think this will be interesting to dive into because of the contrast of the callers compared to the Caleb Hammer Show. Most of the guests on Caleb's show don't make too much money, but they spend like they're celebrities and they're just drowning in debt. However, there are many callers on Dave's show that make that kind of income, make a lot of money, and that ends up coming with even more debt. So honestly, some of these situations are even worse than Caleb's. I know many people don't like the Dave Ramsey Show because a lot of the advice is from a completely different generation, and times today are different, I understand, and I'm not even going to agree with all the clips we're showing in this video. But I think what we're going to watch today would be pretty useful and hopefully help some people avoid making these types of mistakes if you see any similarities in your life. And we're going to be looking at some of your comments from previous videos as well, so if you want to be featured on a future video, leave it in the comments down below. But we're going to start off with a classic, just a brutal car depreciation.
I'm just recently divorced. I make $96,000 after taxes. I'm about $105,000 in debt at the current moment. A large majority of that debt is a $52,000 vehicle that I have. That vehicle is currently at a trade-in value of $12,000.
Do you roll negative equity?
Yeah,
what happened?
It's an electric vehicle.
What kind of car is this? Just to warn people.
A Kia EV6.
Kia. Okay, you got a Kia, and you bought it for how much?
62.
And it's worth 20 now? I'm confused. When did you buy it?
No, you're not. Well, you can be confused. It's crazy. I bought it back in 22.
And in 2 years, the value dropped by like 60-something%?
Yes. I've taken it to about 3 different dealerships. When they ran it, they're like, how did this happen?
Did you have high mileage on it? Does it have issues, wear and tear?
Nope, everything is perfectly fine with it. I have about 30,000 miles on it. There's no damage to the vehicle.
There's only 30,000 miles on it?
So this is one of the vehicles in the recent wave of just new EVs from every single manufacturer you could think of. And unfortunately, this guy is getting killed with the depreciation from a Kia EV. I honestly had to look it up, and apparently he got the EV GT because that kicks off at $63,000. $60,000 for a Kia. That's crazy. It went from $62,000 down to either $22,000 or $12,000 in just a couple years. I mean, if you're really into EVs that much, I would honestly just stick to most likely Tesla. We all probably know now that the entire EV market has taken a pretty big hit, especially used vehicles over the past year or so. And Tesla's one of the only brands to keep their value, at least somewhat. I still know that you could get them relatively cheap on the secondhand market, but any of the manufacturers who basically started making EVs because they saw how much Tesla was making, like the Kias, I would just 100% stay away from because the depreciation will be brutal like this guy. We can look at some of the comments. Look up the Kia EV6 GT. Market value is at $61,000. So that's definitely what he got. Go to Kelley Blue Book and add 1,000 miles to get the drive off the lot value. Then the value goes to $35,000. Exactly 50% loss as soon as you leave. I'll stick to my Hondas. I'm not somebody who's just a EV hater. I'd like to have one maybe in the future. Hopefully if the range starts getting, amazing, you get 1,000 miles off of a battery just blowing out of the water normal gas vehicles. But right now, to me, it doesn't really seem like the time to buy, especially brand new, because you could take a significant loss and be heavily underwater if you do want to trade it in for another vehicle down the road. Here we have one that's almost unbelievable. I would think that this is scripted because of how ridiculous this call-in was, so I just had to put it in.
My husband and I didn't know we needed to file taxes, and we currently owe the IRS $600,000.
Good Lord, how did that happen?
Yes. We just thought that they filed themselves, to be honest. And we both are self-employed. So we just thought it was deducted out of our pay already. So
For how many years?
It's been about 10 years.
So you finally started filing, and then you end up with try to stay out of jail. Because not filing is criminal, and so you go and file, and now they give you the total, and it's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, but no one really told us that, we had to keep money aside for taxes. So I just don't really see how it's our fault.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I have no idea why Dave Ramsey would be sorry. How would you think everybody around you who had a normal 9 to 5 has to pay taxes, but you don't for 10 years? I don't even understand how you would get into the self-employment space and you didn't read up or somebody tell you anything about having to file your own taxes because you are your own boss. This is even worse than some of the Caleb guests we've seen not paying taxes because they won't do it for a couple years because they didn't really have money, or it really wasn't that bad. Maybe it was like a few $1,000s they were behind, but 10 years? Adding on top of it, calling into this show and then at the end saying that it's not our fault. We didn't know, so we shouldn't get in trouble. Some of the way people think in this world just baffles me because, I mean, we have a comment from one of you guys. Even the Joker files his taxes. Everyone knows he's not going to mess with the IRS. You get in trouble not paying your bills, your loans, car payments, go to collections, tank your credit, even file for bankruptcy, but the IRS will get their money back. They will garnish your wages. They will follow you until you die. But I just had to put that clip in because I thought it was way worse than any of the other people we've seen who didn't pay their taxes.
Just recently graduated from residency to become an orthodontist, and I have student loans that total just over $1 million.
You're kidding me.
And no, sir.
What were you thinking?
Well, I wasn't thinking clearly. So I've sat down and calculated my interest rates, and my interest is about $5,800 a month. So my fiance and I were trying to decide what's the best way to try to attack this if we were this first year able to pay $10,000 a month.
So here we have an orthodontist with $1 million in student debt. We've seen that the average amount of debt start to finish from the beginning of college all the way through dental school when you're completely done is about $300,000 to $400,000. So more than doubling that. What did you do? So this is somebody who would be making good money in most people's eyes, $120,000 a year. Literally more than 50% of that income is going just to interest because of how brutal the student loans are. I'll pull this up on screen. I know many people's arguments is that they could have very good salaries. Here we could see in 2023, the median salary was almost $240,000, $20,000 a month. However, he's bringing in half of that, which the lowest, 25%, is $132,000. So he's definitely not up there with the almost $250,000 a year. I would venture to guess that's somebody who's been in the business for a number of years. But of course, that takes time going through college and then dental school. So that takes a number of years off of your potential earnings because you're getting that degree. And then when it's all said and done and you actually start working, you have to again rise up that totem pole, which takes even more time. Definitely makes it harder to save more money when you have $5,700 of interest going out every single month. So I mean, to finally break even and actually start making the $239,000 a year would take quite a bit of time.
My wife and I, we have quite a bit of debt. And so I was wondering how we should start working through that. We have about 150 in car loans and about 280 in student loans. We have quite a bit in home equity. So I was curious, is that something that would be on the table to sell our house and just basically wipe it all out in one fell swoop? Or should we work our way through that?
Yeah, that's a good question. Adam, how much do you guys make a year?
Net combined about $330.
For the home, how much do you owe on it? How much is left on the mortgage?
About $385.
Okay, and how much would it sell for?
Probably near $8.
Okay.
And why do you have $150,000 in cars?
That's exactly why I wanted to put this in the video. The amount of money that they make both in home equity and just income, and they still have that much debt, but you know exactly why they have $150,000 in cars. They immediately see all that equity as if it's in their bank account. You only get that money if you take out a loan or sell the house, and wanting to live that lifestyle because they make $300,000+ a year. However, they're still in a ton of debt, almost $300,000 $300,000 still with student loans, and the $150 combined on the cars probably means that it was even higher. I highly doubt that they bought 2 brand new cars totaling up to $150, so in all, the vehicles that they own are probably even more expensive. But I've said it a million times, maybe you do finally start making that kind of income, crazy amount of money like $300K, but that lifestyle creep really could start doing a number on your finances and could honestly be even worse than like maybe maxing out your credit cards that go to like $10K. And that's how you go into $430,000 in debt while you're still making $330,000 a year. So, unbelievable. And one of the comments from this video, managing money is more important than making money. Can't agree with that more, because if you start seeing those bi-weekly checks rolling in with those giant numbers, but you're not good with actually managing that money coming in, that's when some people start swiping the credit cards and buying anything and everything that they want. But we have a comment from you guys going over couples frivolous finances is the new Jerry Springer. I know a lot of people get entertainment from this, but hopefully it could open some people's eyes and help if you don't really have too much financial knowledge, and see what the results could be with your life if you don't take financial responsibility seriously.
My wife and I are in a bit of a pickle. We got invited to a wedding out of the country, and actually my wife was asked to be in the wedding.
Ooh, where?
It's in Italy.
Ah,
I love that.
Always. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
How much debt do you guys have?
We have about $97,000 left. I would say, I mean, they've been best friends for the last 4 or 5 years. I wouldn't say since they grew up together. Like, they didn't grow up together.
Is she the maid of honor?
No.
Okay, so she's not the maid of honor, which means she ain't the best friend, unless the girl has a sister.
Right. It does matter in this.
It does matter. Okay.
Right.
I'm going to shoot you straight here, because I don't think that you guys can afford a trip to Italy, and I don't think that you can afford all of the things that goes along with being a bridesmaid, because in 2023, these bridesmaid prices have gone through the roof.
Yeah, what are we talking about? Do we have a price tag? I'm curious, Nick.
It's the parties, it's everything. So what do you think it's going to cost?
I priced out to about $6,000. That's if we just did the 4 days.
So the comment section is just people arguing back and forth. But I wanted to say, if you were going to have a destination wedding, you have to know how much of a burden that is for everybody else. Unless you want something unbelievably small, maybe just both of the parents, super immediate family, not just random friends or possibly best friends. I don't think she even was. Flying all the way to Italy, like they said, that costs $6,000 for just 4 days when they're already in almost 6 figures worth of debt. You can't really swing it, but then everybody in the comment section back and forth. We could just take a look at some of them. If you're having a destination wedding, you should be prepared for even your closest friends to say they cannot attend. That's what I was saying, and not hold that against them. Putting a financial burden on friends also. And there's another one. As a wife, I'd be resentful that I didn't get my honeymoon and also didn't get to be in my best friend's wedding. Well, she wasn't a best friend, and you're also still in $100,000 worth of debt. I don't think that debt just came out of nowhere. But again, we're living in the modern world where people want everything now, and they want to live above their means because they probably saw their favorite influencer get married in Italy, and oh, it'd be so much fun to go there. And then people wonder why they're in debt for the rest of their lives.
I have 35 credit cards, and I owe $19,000 in them. Mm-hmm. $30,000 school loan, which I have not paid, and we take home $60,000. I wanted to pay off some credit cards, but every week it just seems that I'm paying something. Mm-hmm. Like all minimums is just living paycheck by paycheck.
Check comes in, all the money goes out, and then you're broke and you can't figure out how to go to the grocery store.
Yes, exactly.
You're not living by any kind of plan. This money is owning you. You don't own it.
Yes.
And you got to get the other side of it, and the budget helps you do that. You're telling your money what to do instead of wondering where it went.
Okay.
And then you and your husband are in agreement. We're going to sacrifice deeply because I am so sick of living like this.
Yes, definitely.
I have to admit, though, 35 credit cards and only $19,000 worth of debt? Why even have that many cards then? The limits must be so small, and I guess she just opened them up non-stop. I don't even know what you do with 35 credit cards, man. But another person who just doesn't really know how to budget at all and really has to change their life to be able to get out of that debt. She also had $30,000 worth of student loans. But I mean, being very meticulous and actually realizing everything that goes in and out instead of just making the minimum payments like she said on all the cards would help you see what's actually draining the extra money coming in every single month. We could look at some of the comments though. With 35 credit cards, I was expecting way worse to be honest. Yeah, me too, because we see the credit card debt videos. Somebody will have maybe like 6 or 7 and they'll be in tons. I mean, more than double. There'll be $40, $50, $60,000 we've seen. So having 35 credit cards, I thought we were going to hear an ungodly number. 35 is absolutely insane. I only have 34. We'll move on to just a small clip from one of the hosts of The Ramsey Show.
If you're married and you share a bed and you share genetics with little kids running around, you can share a bank account.
So I wanted to put this in because if you look at this screenshot, she's got 24,000 likes on it and 0 comments. I would assume she ended up getting blasted in the comments so heavily that she turned off the entire comment section. So this is one of the takes that I think varies greatly between the older generation, more of the Dave Ramsey boomers, and my generation, because marriage is a very different thing nowadays. Honestly, not really worth it, but we'll get to that in a second. But how many comments have I read from a previous video saying that I had to divorce my wife because she ended up spending all of my money wanting to be an Instagram influencer and fly around and take all these pictures even though they didn't have the means, absolutely destroying their lives. If you watch a lot of these clips, you've probably seen, I didn't put it in this video, but another Dave Ramsey caller ended up taking $25,000 of his and his wife's money in a joint bank account and spending it on Pokemon cards. There's way less financial responsibility in this world now, and that could even vary between partners now. So I personally don't agree with the joint bank accounts. Maybe you both have your own and a third account that is maybe joint, you know, paying the bills or something along the lines of that, because it seems easier now more than ever to have a joint account, spend all of your partner's money and just divorce, because apparently that's the answer for everybody now.
What do you do when you can't pay the minimums?
So what are these payments? How many do you have?
There are several of them. They total up to $555,778.
$555,000?
Mm-hmm.
Is this all personal debt?
Personal, pretty much personal debt.
Does that include your mortgage?
No, that does not include our mortgage. And there's some land in there. There's credit cards.
What are the big chunks?
How did you get $500,000 in a debt, Regina? What happened?
Just a whole lot of a little bit of everything. You know, you stop paying attention, and you just kind of keep going. You make good money, and you think that you're invincible, and one day you turn around, and that's where you are.
What's your household income?
200.
So this is the type of clip that I wanted to contrast with the unbelievable debt with somebody who thought they were invincible because they were making $200,000 a year. You would assume you'd be fine. You could pay for whatever you want, not paying attention to the finances and the bills rack up. I don't know how over $500,000 does, but this is what could happen and be way worse than any of the other situations where they are $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 in credit card debt. Try 10 times that, 11 times that. Their credit limit must be insane to have that much debt without getting some sort of call collections. I mean, huge issues if you're talking about $500,000 in debt. We can look at the comment section, but she would not admit what they actually bought. How do you not pay attention to $555,000? Just tell us what you bought, Regina. Either shopaholics or gamblers, or both. That's wild. She's embarrassed to say that she spent money on clothes, makeup, and stuff like that. Even that. How do you spend $500,000? I could say maybe $100,000, but just because you finally start making good income doesn't mean that all the debt will just magically go away. If anything, it could actually get way worse, because then you think you could buy that $1,000 or $2,000 Louis Vuitton bag and just start adding zeros to everything that you were initially purchasing if you had a reasonable, normal median income.
But I'm 59 and I do not have any money in retirement. I just recently sold my home and paid off almost all of my debt. So I was wondering what your advice would be. Instead of taking all of the money that I have and putting it into a home, I was thinking that maybe I should beef up an investment account.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But I know that your steps say that's like borrowing money to invest.
Right.
But
okay. So how much debt do you have? How much debt do you currently have that you have not paid off?
Well, I have a lease that has 30 months remaining, and it's $400 a month.
Good Lord.
So
okay.
But I just didn't think it would be wise to turn that over yet.
And do you have anything else?
In debt? No.
Okay.
I am cash flowing my daughter's college right now and no other debt.
Okay, so this is one of the clips that I believe is one of my overarching messages on the channel entirely, because this is somebody getting very close to retirement age with virtually no money. Now, on top of it, with the no money in savings, which is a very dangerous thing going into old age, she's also paying for her daughter's college. I mean, I know, of course, that's what any parent would hope to want to do because it helps your child in the future. I mean, not have these crazy student loans. But if you're in this bad of a situation when you're calling Dave Ramsey to ask for help, you should probably get the daughter to pay for her own college. But with all these debt and finance videos that I make, most of the age of the people who watch my channel are 25 and older, but hopefully I could start gaining a little bit younger of an audience, 18 and up, so they could start learning as young as possible how important it is to save money and not get into debt. Start some sort of retirement account, Roth IRA, anything, because it's going to be much, much harder for our generation to retire compared to all the problems that the boomers are having right now. And unfortunately, many people are going to be like this woman, almost 60 years old, and have basically no money to their name. And you're not going to be able to retire, obviously. We can look at some of the comments from this video. This is scary, getting old and not having retirement. Lots of us are heading that way. The caller mentioned she was paying for her daughter's college. That should end today. That's what I was saying. If you have absolutely no money, especially if you're heading to the age where you can't really work anymore, it's not like you're lazy and you don't want to work. It's going to be even harder for you to make money. But another comment, I retired at 55 because as soon as I started working, I maxed out my retirement accounts. Again, in the modern world where everybody wants something immediately, it seems even less enticing to put money in your savings accounts for 20, 30, 40 years down the road. It's not nearly as cool as going on a cruise this summer. But unfortunately, many people are going to have to pay the price when we start getting up into that age. But hopefully my videos can change some people's minds.
So collectively, me and my wife are $460,000 in debt, in which $435,000 of it is student loan.
Who's the doctor? Who's the lawyer?
I am.
Okay.
I am. I'm a chiropractor.
You're a chiropractor. What did you pay for chiropractic school?
Chiropractic school was probably pretty close to probably $350,000.
And how many chiropractors make enough to justify anywhere near that? None?
Maybe 1%, like the upper 1%.
Yeah, that's probably true.
I do like the switch up on Dave Ramsey when he asks who's a doctor and he says he's a chiropractor, but I had to look it up because I have absolutely no knowledge. So the cost of being a chiropractor could be around $100,000 to well over $200,000 for schooling. Still, even that outrageous number, $350,000, almost doubling it right there. Same boat as the orthodontist with $1 million in student debt, even with the average of $300,000 or $400,000 in debt for most students. Way, way more than it should be. And then you get to the salary. The median salary is about $76,000. The lowest 10% only make about $40,000, and then the highest 10% is about $142,000. I mean, the caller even admitted the only people who make a ton of money are the top 1% of the practice. I bet it's probably those people you've seen that make those viral cracking videos with celebrities. Do you remember that like 6 months or a year ago? I haven't seen that in forever. Maybe the fad's over, but they'd be on that table that moves and they're like cracking everybody's back who's like just some random celebrity. They were very odd videos. I don't know why they got so many views. I bet those people made a ton of money, but $350,000 in student loans to be a chiropractor doesn't really seem worth it to me.
I have a mountain of debt and just wondering what the fastest way to pay it off would be. It's about a total of $850,000, and that's including mortgages.
Okay. Well, lay them out for me with the consumer debt first.
Okay, consumer debt first. So I've got $4,000 on an LOC. I've got a MasterCard with $24,000, a car with $21,000, a truck with $77,000, and then we've got my personal house, which has got a mortgage remaining of $550,000, and then a rental house with a remaining mortgage of $170,000, plus a HELOC on my personal house, which is about $190,000.
Holy goodness, you've been collecting this stuff, man. What is your income?
And not too proud about it.
My household income is about 160 to 170,000.
Another one of these stories where the household income would make this family have a very nice life, and instead of it in total $800,000 worth of debt, I know that $550,000 is a house. So that means the house was unbelievably expensive even for their good income. Look at the comments. How does somebody with a $170,000 income get a loan for $1 million home? Like they said, just collecting debt, buying a truck for vacationing is so unreal to me. That's such an unnecessary expense. These videos are my therapy for my own debt that is absolute minute compared to some of these people's debt. Rent a truck when vacationing, so that $77,000 loan for the truck is just for vacations. It's possibly one of those Sprinter vans that are very popular right now. You renovate it so you can really live inside of it, but it's still a Mercedes van. Very, very expensive just to buy the van, let alone renovating it to vacation in. But that lifestyle creep is just too enticing for so many people. But we have the final clip here. I'm trying to end it off on a good note. Not everybody on the show is drowning in hundreds of thousands or $1 million+ worth of debt. At least we got one good story.
How much did you pay off?
$234,000.
Oh my gosh!
Oh! How long did this take?
31 months.
Look at you! I love it. And your range of income during that time?
$74,000 to $275,000.
What?
Oh, what do you do for a living?
I'm a nurse practitioner.
So you went to travel nursing, huh?
I did not. I stayed as a nurse practitioner full time, and then I worked in the hospital as a nurse full time as well. And then I had another part time MP job.
So you were doing 80, 90 hours a week?
96.
Oh
to be
my
precise.
gosh, Candace. Okay.
You're a beast, girl. I love it. Wow.
That's pretty crazy. But from all the stuff we've seen on my channel with nurses not being too great with money, it's just a very common occurrence when we were looking at debt videos. This is the opposite. This is somebody who was able to pay all of that off being a nurse full time because, of course, they get a good income and almost $250,000 of debt paid off in under 3 years. I mean, clearly that took a lot of work, 96 hours. I don't think I'd be able to do that, honestly. So that amount of dedication is just unreal. But that's all I got for you guys today. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. YouTube thinks you'll like this video popping up on screen right now, but hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like, and I'll talk to you guys later.